I'd like to call this meeting of the Lammersville Unified Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock. This meeting is being live streamed and recorded, so please silence your cell phones at this time. And if I could have Principal Sharp from Cresta Elementary come forward to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I have Tavishi Kumar here to lead us in it.
Ready, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, President Pombo, board members, Dr. Nicholas. Thank you for having me this evening. We'll see how far back I can talk. I'm excited to present what's happening at Qsf this fall. Let's see. So we really wanted to start at Qsf with rebuilding our school culture and understanding that a lot of our students and some staff have been out for the last year. So in doing that, the first thing that we wanted to be able to bring back, I just got rid of my presentation. There we go. I'm not sure, but it wasn't the right button. We brought back our assemblies in person. So you can see here we have our 1st through 3rd grade fire assembly. We brought back our Student of the Month assemblies, and students really enjoyed having the opportunity to engage with staff. Here you see a full house for volleyball. We were very excited to have our school sports back, and you can see both students and parents were very happy to have the opportunity to see our students playing. And, I didn't introduce him. What a perfect time. Mr. Strickland, my vice principal, has started a running club, which we're excited to have. He has about 30 students coming out every Wednesday, 5th through 8th grade, to hit the pavement. So we're hoping that that can grow to something more. What it'll grow to, we will find out, but it's a great opportunity for all. If anyone would like to come out and run with them, feel free to come on out Wednesdays at 3:15. We started our first coffee and conversation at the end of September. So Mr. Strickland and I meet with parents. We had about close to 40 parents take part in our first coffee and conversation. We share current events happening at Qsf, how parents can support us and support student learning, and then answer any questions that they might have. ASB is helping contribute in bringing back our school culture and school pride. You can see here they decorated our golf cart for homecoming and got all dressed up for the event. I will say that this is our golf cart's last homecoming parade. It's being retired, and we are now going to step up our game to a truck and trailer along with all the other schools. So wait till next year. The ASB also is giving spirit count competitions for the classes who are wearing school spirit colors or school spirit shirts, and they're also recognizing staff. Here you can see how they decorated the custodian door for Custodian Appreciation Day. And upcoming events, they're going to be doing fundraisers, selling boograms. We have our fall dance, our fund run that supports classroom activities, and Red Ribbon Week. Qsf has done an amazing job at the end of last year and the beginning of this year supporting Qsf activities. The biggest expense so far that it's just been so amazing for us, is our marquee. They raised over $20,000, and the marquee in total was about $25,000. These pictures do not do it justice. You really have to go drive by and see it. But what I wanted to show you are the different graphics that we're able to display on the marquee. So it's not just words. You're actually able to include pictures. And I wanted to also show on our regular marquee, we wouldn't be able to advertise free breakfast for families. So the marquee allows us to really get a lot of information out to our families. Qsf just finished our Qsf Envelope Drive, which supports classroom experiences and STEM Fridays. And on October 29th, we are going to be having a trunk or treat. And here is my official invitation to all board members. We would love for you to attend. Qsf really hopes the board members will come and judge our cars. So it starts at 4. We hopefully you will come out and visit.
Can we get candy?
Absolutely, as much as you want. You have to wear a costume, though. So I'm going to end off the presentation with some classroom happenings. So we had to alter a little bit as we come back this year. Teachers really had to put an emphasis on rebuilding classroom community with a focus on compassion. And that's not just compassion between teacher and student, but student to student, understanding that we really need to accept each other for who we are and understand that safe environment before we can get to the last one, which is student collaboration. And teachers knew they needed to rebuild some norms and procedures for students being able to work with one another because they were in their homes, many of them, for the whole year last year. So I just wanted to end it out with some cute pictures of what's happening in the classrooms. You can see teachers working in small group, students working together on ST math, and being able to work through math problem sets together. And that's a 4th grade classroom. And here you see it happening in a 7th grade classroom as well. So it's really exciting to see that students are back just the way they left when we left back in March of 2020, helping each other and working together to meet the needs of each other. And I will end the presentation with our Cuesta motto, every student, every day, whatever it takes. And we are excited to be back. Any questions? Thank you again for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay,
Here.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Anita Daniel,
Here.
Stephanie Olson,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here.
Sanita Jithendra.
Absent.
Approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
A motion by trustee Olson and seconded by trustee Clements. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. District Advisory Committee, nothing to report. District English Language Advisory Committee, trustee
Not-
Clements.
Nothing to report, but we will have a meeting tomorrow.
Thank you. Nothing to report from the Education Committee, Facilities Committee, trustee Clements.
The Facilities Committee is in the process of exploring the possibility of adding a cricket pitch to our existing facilities to see whether there is a site that the Facilities Committee could reach a consensus on and thus bring a recommendation to the board for consideration. To this end, the members of the Facilities Committee took a tour of the grounds and fields of several schools with district staff last week. The focus of the tour was about seeing if there was a place that the district could situate a cricket pitch without impacting existing sports or at the very least minimizing the impact on those sports. We wanted to thank district staff for their time and insights on the tour. We hope to be able to discuss a few possible sites in our next Facilities Committee meeting, which will be November 4th at 6:30 p.m. here in the district boardroom. That's the end of the report.
Thank you. Policy Committee, trustee Clements.
The latest batch of policies has been included as an action item in this evening's governing board meeting agenda.
Thank you. There's nothing to report from the Safety Committee, Wellness Committee, trustee Boulay.
Thank you. The Wellness Committee met today for the first time for this academic year. Each of the school sites reported on their wellness activities that either are planned or in progress for both students and staff. All of the K-8 schools are well into their character count programs for the year, with different positive character traits being recognized each month. All the sites are also participating in Red Ribbon Week next week. They all have a variety of creative dress-up theme days and activities planned that highlight healthy kids and drug abuse prevention. There are also some very unique programs at individual school sites. For example, we heard about Cuesta and their running club. Altamont has a 30-day staff challenge that's focused on both mental and physical health. Lammersville has their Rewards of Approval Fridays. Cordis is focusing on social and emotional skills. Hanson has implemented their Peaceful Playground program. Wickland is having success with their PBIS room. The high school has some of their clubs participating in creating posters with positive messages to display throughout the school to sort of combat some of those negative TikTok programs that we've been hearing about. In terms of COVID safety, Mrs. Busatil reported that we're doing COVID testing on staff and students as needed in an effort to keep everyone in the classroom. We also have a third vaccine clinic scheduled for November 18th with the follow-up clinic on December 9th. This is for people who are just getting their COVID vaccine, and also boosters will be administered at that time. And if all goes well with the world of approvals and vaccinations, we are hoping to also start with pediatric doses for kids 5 through 12, but of course they have to be approved first. In terms of district student services, our counselor has been doing individual and group counseling. She's also created a resource page specifically for teens. This is located on the LUSD website in the student services sections, and there's links to a whole variety of resources to address mental health issues such as stress, anxiety, healthy student issues such as nutrition, and even study skills. So that's a great resource for our teens. She's also going to be spearheading a parent project program, which will be helpful for parents that have a child with difficult and destructive behavior. I am happy to report that after a 2-year hiatus, we are hoping to have our farmers market again in the spring. This will be contingent on the availability of the vendor, but hopefully all will work out for that. And our district nurse reported that we will be doing the Healthy Kids survey in the next couple months, and this is a survey that will be given to kids, parents, and staff in grades 5, 7, 9, and 11. She's also been doing CPR classes for staff and for coaches. She holds 2 classes a month, and they fill up quickly. So I'm happy to hear that we have, she's having some great luck with that. And I think that's a great perk for our staff, because those, if you go to a private company, those CPR classes can be a little pricey. Bernie Hill reported on our nutrition services. She said that they are still short-staffed, and she reminded all of the sites about the rules for food fundraisers such as candygrams. There are some guidelines that those foods need to meet. And our next meeting is on December 8th. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Mr. President, we have a student who did the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'm wondering if she's wondering if she could go.
Oh, certainly. I apologize for not, typically I would announce that and say, you're free to go at that point, but I neglected to do so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Moving on to governing board reports. Trustee Clements.
As noted previously, I joined several other members of district staff in walking the fields at several of our schools. I attended the championship cricket tournament with Mountain House Cricket Club. I learned a lot about the game. It was a lot of fun. I was honored to be asked to help hand out trophies at the award ceremony. That was awesome. I attended the CSD board meeting last Wednesday and updated the community on the latest happenings in our district. And Mr. President, my company has scheduled a planning meeting that will extend into the evening tomorrow, and as a result, I will have to miss the DLAC meeting tomorrow. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Trustee Olson.
I attended a volleyball tournament hosted by the Mountain House Sports and Recreation Club that I was invited to attend, and it was wonderful to see all the volleyball enthusiasm out there and activity, and I appreciate the Mountain House Sports and Recreation Club for including me in their invitation. On Friday, October 8th, I attended the home football game at Mountain House High School. It was a light attendance because it was during the fall break, but the football team was victorious, and that was exciting to see. And on Friday, October 15th, I also traveled to Los Banos to see the football team beat Pacheco in an exciting game that came down to the last 30 seconds. And I also, as Trustee Clements already reported, participated in the walkthrough of the school outdoor facilities with the facilities committee members and Associate Superintendent Harrison and Jimmy LeGrand, and I appreciate their time and expertise, and dedication, and we also, in addition to seeing the potential of a cricket field, checked the conditions of the fields, and we still have some of the best facilities out there, and I know that efforts are made to keep them that way, so I appreciate that. And on October 18th, Monday evening, I attended the Athletic Booster Club meeting, and I also attended the Cuesta book fair that day. And that is all I have to report. I would like to remind the board that a few months ago, we discussed having a special study session to go over board policies and procedures. That has not occurred yet, and I feel like that would be something that would be good still to put on to the calendar. Thank you.
Thank you. And to that end, I have been discussing with the superintendent, getting that on a schedule that will probably come forward in the next board meeting to get availability of the board for that workshop. Thank you. Trustee Boulay.
On Saturday, October 9th, I attended the pancake breakfast at the Mountain House Fire Station. It was a great event. It was well attended with lots of activities for the kids. And I'm grateful to our fire department, not just for being the first responders for our community, but for supporting our community and schools in so many different ways. In addition to the fire safety education they do for our schools, some of the money that they raise from the pancake breakfast goes to 2 select Mountain House High School seniors in terms of college scholarships. So if you are a high school senior or know of a high school senior, please be sure to have them look for the announcement regarding the application process. On Sunday, October 17th, just this past Sunday, I attended the Lammersville School Fall Festival and Car Show. This was another very well-attended event with lots of kids enjoying the carnival games and a great variety of craft vendors. There were also some very cool cars, and so I enjoyed that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Trustee Daniel.
Thank you, President Pombo. First of all, I would like to wish President Pombo and Dr. Nicholas a very happy birthday. And you.
Thank you.
So let me get to my report now. So on October 9th, I attended the Mountain House Fire Station annual fundraiser Pancake Breakfast, and I second everything that Trustee Boulay mentioned. It was really wonderful to be there. I also would like to thank the crew who were making the breakfast. The pancakes were just fluffy, just so good. So thank you so much. And it was a thoroughly enjoyed event. On October 9th, Saturday, I also attended the Mountain House Sports and Recreation Club hosted volleyball tournament. It was exciting to watch a lot of teams from Bay Area, from all over Bay Area. And I also placed a request that next time we have a women's volleyball or throwball tournament going on. On October 9th evening, I also attended, I was requested to be the judge for a mithai contest. A mithai contest is like a sweet competition, a sweet tasting competition. So for the Diwali Mahotsav, which is coming up, and oh my God, I was like high on sweet at that end. But it was lovely. And thanks to all those who participated, they put in their heart and soul there. On October 13th, I attended the Mountain House High School Water Polo Senior Night. It was wonderful. The weather was awesome, even though it was right after the game. And there was a star decoration, and also it was really nice to be there and have like a senior night after almost 2 years. So thanks to all the coaches, the volunteers, the team, and everyone to be there and supporting the seniors. On October 16th, I attended the fundraiser event at Mountain House Bar and Grill, which was supporting 2 of our Mountain House breast cancer survivors. And I am also happy to say that I was a sponsor for the event. So it was really nice to be there just supporting our community. So we are right now in the midst of conducting the written spelling bee and also, I think, vocal spelling bee for the 6th and 7th graders. So at this point, I would like to congratulate all those who have been selected to be attending the final. Those who participated, guys, good job. Keep trying. There's always another time, a second time. So keep trying, but good job. So all those who are going to be attending the final, congratulations. We'll see you on the November 4th. Mountain House Mustang seniors. All the seniors, you are in the midst of applying applications for their colleges. So all the very best. Work on your essays and rock it. All the very best. Lastly, November 4th is going to be our Diwali. I know at Mountain House we have multiple Diwali celebrations going on, starting from, I think, this weekend. So to everyone who's celebrating Diwali, a very happy Diwali from all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Daniel stole a little of my thunder. I was going to wish our superintendent a happy birthday and thank him for his dedication to the district in being here at a school board meeting on his birthday instead of being out to dinner with his wife. I attended a CSBA webinar this past week on how to run board meetings and that sort of thing. I found it interesting. I also attended the Lammersville Harvest Carnival. It's always a lot of fun every year, except last year because it didn't happen. I also attended the Mountain House Sports Volleyball Tournament. Fantastic showing out there. There were, I didn't count them, of course, but it looked like at least 1,000 participants in the various volleyball teams out there. I attended the Mountain House Sports Boosters meeting a couple of nights ago and the Lammersville Community Safety meeting where the truck and commuter traffic around Lammersville Elementary School were discussed. I also attended the last Mountain House home football game and was very pleased with the outcome of that one, and that concludes my report. Receiving of public comments. Board members shall give members of the public, The board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public also may bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Is there anyone who would like to give public comment at this time? Seeing none, we'll move. Oh, yes, please come forward.
Okay, my name is Hannah Adams. I'm a substitute teacher, and if I may pass along an issue, my trans, non-binary, gender non-conforming students face when they use a different name from their legal name, and having that legal name that is inaccurate on the roster sheet and all documents has them feeling excluded, and I'd like to suggest having another data field for preferred name, another data field again for pronouns that they would like to be addressed as. And I'd appreciate your help with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If I could ask the superintendent to have someone,
We'll look into that.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
At this time, the board will be removing our masks as there are no students present, and according to current guidelines, as long as we are all, as long as there are no students present and the board is vaccinated, we can remove our masks. And it makes it much easier to talk and be heard and understood.
Can we just take a moment to just appreciate this?
Moving on to item 7, consent items for consideration. Governing board meeting minutes, contracts under $50,000, Augmentative Communication Solutions, $7,200, Appleby Imaging, Inc., not to exceed $33,710, Key Analytics, $24,000. Ratification of new hires, ratification of resignations. I would just like to take a moment at this time to thank these employees for their years of dedicated service. In particular, Dr. Ted Miller, who's been with the district for a number of years and has been a dedicated employee to this district. Updated fundraisers, approval of high school graduation, reduction of graduation requirement petitions, ratification of budget revisions and warrants list. Would any board member like to further discuss or pull any item from the consideration?
I would like to second your comments about our employees that are resigning and thank them for their service and dedication to our district and our students.
Ditto.
Okay, we'll make that 4. And especially you, Dr. Miller, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Same here, Dr. Miller. Thank you for your time when I met with you. You're a great person, and I'm sure you'll do well in your future endeavors. Thank you.
I'll
I
entertain a
would
motion.
move to approve consent items as submitted with one comment. You touched on it earlier, President Pombo. As I was reviewing the fundraisers, seeing Fall Carnival as a fundraiser was such a, I don't know, I was just excited that, you know, we can actually do stuff like that again, and we have to be careful and all of that kind of stuff, but thank the Lord, we're getting to do stuff like that again.
Second.
Agreed. On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and if trustee Clements would like to do the honors.
On behalf of the board and the district, I'd like to welcome the new hires, Jennifer Haig, High School Staff Secretary, Jeremy Stogner, IT Technician 2, and Flor Torres Molina, High School Lead Custodian / Secretary. Security, excuse me.
Welcome.
Should have put my reading glasses on first.
Moving on to item 7, is it 7 or 8? Item 8, district administrative reports. Dr. Nicholas?
Yes, I have. Just a few small items. First of all, we will be hosting a vaccine event. I want to thank Irene Busatil, who's working with Sutter, Sutter Medical team over there. We've had 2 successful ones. One's with a very large population, one where we gave people in the community a second shot, which was less attended, but we still got a number of people. We're trying to time this around the approval of the pediatrics, or ages 5 through 11-year-old individuals, and we want to provide for the community the opportunity for those who want to vaccine their kids in a convenient way. From what we're told by public health, it's highly likely that the formal approval for emergency use will happen before the dates. And the dates are November 18 for dose 1, December 9th for dose 2. Those will take place at the Professional Development Center. Everyone is welcome, but so I don't want to make it all about the kids, but we're hoping we get a bunch of kids. Second of all, Noelle's putting up here a picture of the Wickland parking lot. I just want to, it's kind of moving now. It's been kind of a long-standing hope. I showed this a little while ago, but that's where we're going to go. This mental picture, or like visual picture of a high-end bird's eye view, Noelle will show you kind of what it's going to look like from a design point. We still have to do some of the final pieces, but we wanted to let you know that this is going to start moving forward, and in the RFP process with a contractor that's coming forward simultaneously for the Costa project. This will be built by the same contractor concurrently. So we wanted to let you know it's going to add 25 more parking spaces to Wickland, which was shorted originally, and the school site with the apartment complex project going in, that's 100 more students. So you add the number of parents. So the expansion of that parking lot is crucial. So we just wanted to let you know that. And again, if I haven't been clear, we're going to bring forward a formal request to take money from Measure L. It'll cost approximately $250,000 to do the project. With price fluctuations right now, that number could change, but just given we have about $3 million left in Measure L. We haven't spent any money in Measure L for a couple of years. This will be a project out of that. Next, yes, sir.
Point of clarification. The combining that with the contract for Costa School, I'm guessing the idea behind that is to get more competitive bids rather than just having a small standalone project?
Correct, because small standalone projects cost more.
Thank you.
Good question, thank you. The next thing is moving forward, this is very crucial to our school district and our community. Assembly Bill 75 is beginning to work its way through Sacramento. That is the next school construction bond. There is presently no school's construction bond, and a significant portion of each of our K-8 schools' construction are paid for by state matching funds from a state school construction bond. In 2020, for the result of a lot of political machinations and adding too many things that were not popular to the Prop 13 bond, which failed 48 to 52, this bond has been simplified. It's a $12 billion bond. It can be for new construction and modernization projects. There are already $3 billion on the 5004 state funding request application list. So $3 billion of the $12 billion are already accounted for. Everybody's gone. So we have Evelyn Costa, which we have to apply for from this new state construction bond. The school in neighborhood K, which we'll begin working on the background side and the funding side next year to open in 2026. And the next school, more than likely in I, and then the final school north of the Byron Highway. So we have 3 more schools to build, K-8 schools, that would be funded hopefully by this bond. So just wanted to give you a heads up. I was asked by the advocates of this to work with the San Joaquin County superintendent. So I'm making with the County Office of Ed, a presentation at the County Soups meeting tomorrow to see if they'll pass a resolution in support of AB 75, and we will be bringing something, that resolution forward to the board at the next meeting.
And so this AB 75 will be on the next ballot for November?
November 2022.
Oh, bummer. Okay.
Yeah.
I was hoping it'd be this year.
AB 70, okay. The other thing is, so we have some new board members, and I said the exciting part of building a school is coming. That's the groundbreaking, ribbon cutting, all that stuff. The more tedious, more bureaucratic part is picking a contractor, signing the contract, which we do under the lease back agreements. But we're in the process of really putting all that together in the background. There are some important dates. These are all tentative, subject to change. We do a pre-qualification process here, which allows architects and members of staff to look at the submittals and only move forward ones that qualify. So we're looking somewhere around November 16th to complete that process. In the early part of December, select the firms to be interviewed. The week of December 13th, and I have this in email, I can send it to the board. Around the 13th, to do interviews. We usually have 1 to 2 board members who sit on the panel. And then we identify the winner. And then in January, we start working on the contract and get the board to approve it. And then we anticipate, with huge potential swings in timing on this, but March 28th-ish to start construction, which is the underground, scrape the ground, organize the ground stuff. And then the real construction where things get exciting and framing and such around May 1st. So it seems like a long way off, but I can tell you, having been part of 6 schools now, or 6 construction projects here, it goes fast. But that is exciting news. All those dates are subject to change, but those are in the ballpark of being correct. And Mr. President, and then the welcome website. Sorry, I jumped over it. So the board requested and gave direction to staff to come up with something that's an easy information guide for new people, potential builders, people who are interested in who we are. Each of these pictures are a slice of the actual page, but the font was too small to get on here, so we broke it up. So it's broken up into multiple categories, and you can see, go to the next one. And so it rolls through about all the things we provide. And then the next slide are frequently are important questions about people who are looking for particular pieces of information and information, and then kind of FAQ type of stuff. So we think we've covered it. We would like to post that if that meets the spirit, and then if there's something that's missing, we could add to it. But we want to thank staff who've been working on putting all the pieces together. So it's a general overview of who we are, but it's easy to follow.
Thank you. I love that idea.
Thank you to the staff that did that, because that's great. I think this will really help families as they navigate their way to find information.
We'll thank one of the birthday boys, Mr. Pombo, President Pombo. It was his idea.
Actually, it was an idea that someone forwarded to me, but I'm the one that forwarded it to you, so I guess I get a little bit of credit.
Dr. Nicholas, I do have a question. So you mentioned that November 18th is the vaccine, we are providing vaccine walkthrough, right? What's the timing for it?
I believe we don't know yet, but the last one was 10 to 5, correct? 10 in the morning to 5 at night.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks.
And can I just clarify, you did say that you believe that could be the time frame that ages 5 through 11 can also be vaccinated?
Correct. The murmur is, and again, murmurs are not valid. The murmur is that the approval will come forward before November 5th. So that gives us a nice little cushion just in case.
It was mentioned at the wellness meeting earlier today that the hope is to have the clinic for shots stay a little later than 5 this time because of the proximity of the end of the school day with the end of the clinic, and also people coming home and that sort of thing. So,
okay, correct. Okay, they've been very, very cooperative with us. And Dr. Park, again, maybe someday we can have her up here and we can give her a certificate of thank you for being a rock star and a hero. She has put up with more nonsense, and absorb the blows of everybody who had angst and consternation through the course of this pandemic, and done so with class and dignity. But whenever we've asked for something, she's delivered epically. So she's a neat lady, and we think highly of her.
Thank you. Does that conclude your SUPS report?
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on to item B, district enrollment report. Staff report?
Yes, I'm happy to announce that as of Friday, which we reported for this board meeting, we had 7,006 students. That's the first time our district has formally passed the threshold of 7,000 students. And in the few days since then, we are now at 7,027 students and expect that number to continue going up for the next couple of months. Nobody's stressed about that whatsoever.
No.
That's somewhat refreshing. Listening to a news report earlier today, and they were talking about the fact that all schools were declining enrollment in California, and it's refreshing that we're not. Moving on to item C, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. As previously mentioned, I was on the site walk with the facilities committees last Friday. We walked 5 sites, Hanson, Bethany, Altamont, Cuesta, and Wickland. We were looking for 2 things. We're looking for some reported hazards on the field, and we're looking at the cricket pitch that people were talking about. So we spent a couple hours doing that, and I think it was time well spent. So the operations team this week has been preparing for the big band event at the high school this Saturday, about striping fields, cleaning the bleachers, and that kind of stuff. Hopefully the weather will cooperate and everything will go smoothly. An update on the irrigation main line I talked about the last board meeting. So a couple of days after last meeting, we went and we cut the pipe, put a shutoff valve on it, ran a camera up the rest of the pipe, ran in some elbows, some 90s, couldn't get the camera any further into the pipe. At that point, we decided to turn the water on the rest of the campus and see what didn't have water. And it turns out that there's a small planter beds directly behind the stage that doesn't seem to have any water. All around the rest of the building, the quad, everything else seems to be pressurized and has water. So it was my recommendation to Thor that right now we do not jackhammer up the concrete on the sidewalk and fix it and just ride it out for the winter and the spring to see how it goes. Especially since we couldn't pinpoint the leak, we'd be chasing it and busting all that concrete up, which I don't want to do. I don't think anybody else does either. So that's where we're at with that. So problem somewhat solved for now. I've been working a lot on the solar projects last week and a half. Had to secure the inspector of record, the lab of record. That's all done. Proposals are signed, sent back to them. We continue to have our weekly meetings. Tomorrow we're having our pre-construction meeting, kickoff meeting. So that'll be Thor and I in that meeting. We had a meeting with DSA to argue some points about it. We won, so to speak. So we got what we wanted, which is unusual. Never happens usually. So it's good news. It's moving forward. It's been a long time coming, year and a half or 2 years, something like that. We've been working on this, so I'm glad it's finally moving forward. In case you didn't notice, I took out all the trees in the parking lots at the high school, Bethany, Wickland. A lot of trees taken out a week ago Saturday. So that's for the ones that are going to be under the arrays. So the parking lots look a little naked. There'll be some solar there in a few months. Next week, I have a meeting with our flooring vendor to talk about some potential summer projects at Bethany and Altamont. On next Friday, the 29th, Thor and I have our quarterly meeting with our landscape company, our check-in meeting, performance meeting. So that will be interesting. Staffing update. We were able to offer the position to the courier for, she works in food service, so she accepted. I told Bernie we would wait until she backfilled the position before we took her. So whenever that happens, she'll be coming on board. We have interviews a week from Friday, the 29th, for the lead custodian position at Cordis. And we had a person start at Bethany. He worked one night and he quit the next day. So came the next day and turned his keys in. So I guess he didn't like it and he didn't last very long. So anyways, that position is back open. And we still have a night position to fill at the high school. So, and we have a couple applicants, and hopefully we'll get someone out of those people. And that's my report for tonight.
I have a question on the leaky pipe.
Yes.
Is there the possibility of just rather than digging up and fixing the leak, replacing the pipe? In other words, going around wherever the leak is potentially there,
You're talking about like using it as a sleeve type thing?
or just rerouting the pipe and leaving the leaky one unused and putting a new.
I could look at it, but there's still concrete to go underneath or around. It may be possible. I can go look at it.
Anyway, they can, I'm not sure.
The pipe comes in at a weird angle, almost at a 45 angle to the sidewalk, and it makes a couple bends before it gets over to the other side. So going that route would be difficult, but maybe. That planter bed's pretty isolated back there. It's a long ways from the quad and the front. It might be difficult to get water there, but we could try.
Anyway, I don't know the specifics of it, but I know they do vertical drilling where they drill under a sidewalk or under.
The boring? Yeah.
Boring, yes.
We could maybe do that.
It's just a thought.
And we will have them out with a solar project. They will be doing underground boring for that. So maybe I could talk to them about maybe while they're there, just hooking us up with a little bore run,
All right.
Can I ask a clarifying question about that too? So currently, right now, we do have water to the theater building and to the building A at the high school, and the only area that is not getting irrigated is that.
Yeah, the whole campus has water everywhere around the whole building. There's a narrow planter bed, maybe 3 or 4 feet wide. I don't know, 15, 20 feet long. There's 6 or 8 plants in there that doesn't have water. That's the only thing. The west and the north and all the lawns in the quad all have water. Everything's live.
Okay.
If it was more than just that little bed, I would say we have to fix it. But it's just a tiny little bed, and I think we'll be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe some drought-resistant plants in it, or no plants.
Yeah, it might just leave it just bark it and leave it the way it is. So it doesn't get a lot of sun in that area anyways, because the A building's pretty high, and so anyways. I think it's the best solution for now. If for some reason we run more problems in the spring and other things are dying, then we'll have to go look at it again. But I think that's the proper solution right now. I don't want to tear all that concrete up. It's not that old. It's going to make a mess, and it won't match, and it just won't look good. So that's where we're at.
All right, further questions or comments by the board?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 9, action items. Consider approval of 2021-2022 inter and intra-district transfer requests. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the 2021-2022 inter and intra-district transfer request.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Daniels. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval, second reading and adoption of updated board policies and administrative regulations. Staff report.
We recommend approval of these latest round of BP and ARs.
With my sincere thanks to district staff for yet another wonderful packet of updated policies and procedures, I move to approve the second reading and adoption of updated board policies and administrative regulations.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Clements and seconded by trustee Olson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, approval of safe return to in-person instruction and continuity plan. Staff report?
Yes, so ESSER money is funds that came through with COVID relief. It requires a plan. I want to thank Mr. Harrison, Gloria Grijalva for their efforts in putting forward this plan. They're tedious, bureaucratic. They justify the expenditures, but they weren't done to be done quickly. So thank you to them, and this just secures all the steps we have to take for that money.
With sincere gratitude for that tedious work that Associate Superintendent Harrison and Gloria Grijalva have done, and whoever else assisted you, I move to approve the safe return to in-person instruction and continuity plan.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Olson and seconded by trustee Boulay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 10, information and discussion items. Item A, establishing scholarship funds, BP and AR 5126. Staff report?
Yes, so in most established districts, there are a list of scholarships that are born throughout the history of a school district or a school. We had not established an umbrella in order to start doing this, and it was recommended in a conversation with Trustee Clements, who expressed interest in that, that a scholarship fund, how does that work? So Gloria, Assistant Superintendent Grijalva, looked into it, and the ability to do so is completely fine to establish an umbrella for scholarship funds. And in order to do so, these two, the BP and the AR, would be the best vehicle in which to do that. So anyone wishing to start a scholarship fund, if for any particular reason, we would be able to do so in a more expeditious manner.
So as a point of clarification, I approached Mr. Faubert and Mr. Harrison because I personally would like to set up a scholarship fund, and I would not be involved in the selection of the individual. That would be done by the prescribed committee. But I would help set up the criterion, that would be used for the selection. And so I asked how that went, how I could go about doing that. And it would be an annual thing. So that they researched it and they came up with this board policy.
Further questions or comments by the board?
So in the policies that were attached to the agenda, would we be adding a section specific for scholarships? Because I didn't see a section. So that part, so we'd have to add to this policy and this regulation then. Oh, okay. Okay.
And just a point of clarification, so this is a scholarship that, a policy that will allow anybody who so wishes to create a scholarship.
Correct.
Okay.
So there would be a separate line item. So let's say it's 20 years from now and there's 10 different individuals or families that established one. They would have an individual line item, but it would fall under this one policy.
Okay.
Another point of clarification. This BP and AR 5126 will be coming forward in another tranche of.
We could do it either way. In terms of we could bring it forward as a standalone, or we could wait till the next tranche.
All right. I think either way would be fine.
I would like to, because to be honest, I've been, we've been working on this. I mentioned it some time ago, so I would prefer to not have to wait until the next big batch of policies. If this thing's done and ready to go, with the consensus of the board, and if you'll grant me a boon, I would like to get this over the finish line so that I can write a check and begin actually benefiting graduating seniors. So
That's fine.
So just a clarification too, so would this benefit the current seniors? I mean, once you write the check?
that's the reason why this is happening like it is I want to be able to write a check and have the district set up the committee and select the candidate for this graduating class.
I really appreciate your thought, Trustee Clements, and I would like to join with you in opening another scholarship too. Yep.
It's the scholarship challenge. Throwing down the gauntlet.
No, it's not a challenge. It's like, let's join together.
So we will bring something forward at the next meeting for the BPAR to allow any such generosity to move forward.
Thank you.
And thanks to district staff for making that happen. I appreciate it.
Moving on to item B, overview of LUSD Gifted and Talented Education GATE program. Staff report?
Assistant Superintendent Sherburne is going to make a short presentation here, and we want to acknowledge her coordinator, Kristen Akito, who is a high energy ball of gate passion. This presentation was born out of a conversation in which I believe the word showcase was used to give the opportunity to our community to understand how we do gate. So tonight is a small overview for the board as a setup to the Education Committee meeting, which is going to be a deep dive into our GATE program, which we've worked very, very hard on. And so I think with no further ado, Heather Sherburne.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here, President Pombo, trustees, Dr. Nicholas. It's my pleasure to be here. I do want to introduce Kristen Equinto, who's our coordinator of GATE, along with other things that she does, and she's done a fabulous job with this. We've been developing this over the last, 5 years or so to bring back a GATE program that hadn't existed for a while. So Kristen serves as the coordinator for this as part of her job. And then we have our teachers listed there. We have one teacher who was hired and not able to fulfill that. So we are now in the process of adding another staff person back in so that we have a large group of fifth graders so that we can serve all of the fifth graders who want to participate. So our thanks to all of these fantastic teachers who are stepping up to teach the GATE enrichment after school classes. So gifted and talented education is to identify students who have high achievement capability in intellectual, creative, artistic, leadership, or different academic areas who need services and activities not ordinarily provided by school in order to fully develop those capabilities. And we want to think about the fact that with these exceptionalities that come with gifted students, often comes what might be thought of as a more negative trait that comes along with them. They have a higher incidence of depression, anxiety, stress, frustration. So those things are also a part of helping them to develop and be fully successful individuals along with their intellectual or artistic capabilities. So as you might imagine, the gifted student learns very quickly, retains information, finishes quickly in class, has lots of interests typically, enjoys challenges, and is often unique and has unique and original opinions. But you may not know, and oftentimes people in the community, teachers, do not recognize that gifted students are also very easily bored. They can then become very disruptive in class. They can show strong resistance to doing repetitive activities and doing memorization activities. So sometimes they won't do any work in class because it's not worthy of their time, in their opinion. So they resist working on activities, and they can challenge authority because they have different ways of thinking about things. So when we were setting up our gifted and talented education program in Lammersville, we wanted to keep all of that in mind. We also wanted to make sure that we were equitably identifying students. So we screen all fourth graders and in terms of looking for students who are gifted. Those students who reach a threshold of around the 95th percentile of students are then taken forward in the process for further testing and identification procedures until we get to that top 2% of students, which is what is a gifted student. They're really that top 2% of all students that are their age. Then we serve our GATE students through this after-school enrichment class. And then we also serve high achievers alongside our gifted students during the school day with these ELA extension units that we've started in 5th grade. We have the accelerated math program starting in 6th grade. We have honors classes and AP coursework at the high school, and then the early college pathway in partnership with Delta College at the high school. So we want to provide a wealth of opportunities that not only benefit our gifted learners, but also benefit our high achievers, of which we have many in this district. So we'll look at the GATE extension units. Again, these are what happens during the day, and these are our English language arts. I think you're familiar with our math program, with our accelerated math program. So these have been developed with Kristen and the Committee of GATE teachers looking at the curriculum, and they've taken Dr. Kaplan's prompts of depth and complexity, looking at it's not just about learning more faster. It is about understanding in deeper, new, novel ways. And so that has been lined out for them. They're aligned to the core curriculum, so they're learning alongside their classmates, but then they're extending that learning in ways that their classmates are not able to do at that time. And they're doing that with work with each other in the classroom as a small group, as well as small group instruction from the teacher in particular to meet their needs. The same way they would meet with struggling learners, or they would meet with their on-grade level learners to meet their needs in small group. They're meeting with their gifted students as well. So going into that a little bit more, the extension units have focus on depth, complexity, novelty, and acceleration. And these are icons out of Dr. Kaplan's work. And those icons all have different meanings we'll look at on the next page there. But we want to think about those things of making sure that we're really building this deep understanding within that field of study content, that we're allowing opportunities for scholarly insights into the connections across time, people, and disciplines, that there's novelty and encouraging individualized thinking, and that we're looking at accelerating their levels of thinking and knowing, not necessarily just achievement in facts and memorization. So that's looking at that interdisciplinarity, then the universal concepts, the big ideas, and then they're starting to think like a disciplinarian. So we'll look at that just a little bit more. So each of the icons there explains what it is within depth, but they're going to be addressing questions that are like, what are the key details or distinguishing characteristics of the Constitution? What rules were established to create the Constitution, and what would happen without that rule? So we're not just learning what it is, how it happened, how it was developed, all of the basic information, but we're asking students to investigate and explore beyond that. If you could sit down with the creators of the Constitution, what would you want to know or ask them? Really thinking beyond and outside. What is the big idea or purpose of creating the Constitution? When we're thinking about complexity, then we have questions like, how has the Constitution changed over time? Why would different groups of people have various interpretations of the Constitution and that ability to take perspectives? How does geography affect constitutional history? And then when they're getting into thinking like a disciplinarian, this example is thinking like an ecologist. What patterns might an ecologist examine? Discuss the details an ecologist might examine when studying an ecosystem's ability to support life. So really asking them to think from that professional expertise. So these things are built into a unit. Teachers and students have a lot of flexibility within that to meet the students' needs, because again, remember that not all gifted learners are gifted in English language arts. They're not all gifted in math. They're gifted in unique ways, but we can, as appropriate, we have teachers make decisions about what materials are right for these students at this time, and then pull in that group of students' interests so that they can work together and pick out these bits and pieces and parts of it. So this is an example of a unit that has been developed that goes right along with the core instruction within the classroom and yet extends it. So with our extension units, as well as our after-school enrichment program, it's really important that they're built on real-world, high-challenge tasks, things that really engage them, are purposeful and meaningful, and allow them to really think complexly and differently. So these are some examples. They're saying they can go slow, they can go fast. Perfect day is where I am free to think flexibly and act at my own pace. I can skip right to the end and work backwards if I want. All of these kinds of things are the flexibility that's built in for students to be able to learn in the way they need to learn. They're organized by key concepts and principles, just not memorizing facts. So this is an example of some of the projects that our students have done in our after-school enrichment classes. So it's optional for the students to sign up for that. This is a model future city. If you were available at the board meeting several years ago, we had a few students bring a future city project. So students will work on the ideas often around the concepts that Future City competition is bringing up, whether they participate in competing or not, or doing the full Future City. These are the kinds of projects that we're asking them to think about and think in different ways. So this is one example. They did one where they were testing waters and engineering a water reuse process. And then engineering earthquake-resistant buildings. So as they work through these project-based learning opportunities, a really important key component of this is that we support students. These are bright students. They're going to be successful with learning, with or without us, right? They're going to go out in the world. What will often hold gifted students back is their social emotional capacity, their ability to understand other students, other people around them, their ability to work in teams, and their ability to communicate with the rest of the world and the individuals with whom they're coming in contact. So we want to make sure that we're supporting their development in the social emotional aspect, and we're developing their leadership and communication at the same time. So we're thinking about, we need to be able to understand them, and we need to help them understand themselves. If you think about gifted students, their brains are developing at a faster pace than their emotional maturity, than the maturity of their friends and peers. That creates other problems of insecurity, anxiety, additional stress. Those are all things that we need to help students learn how to wrestle with. So these are the areas that we are making sure that we're addressing through the social emotional learning work that is done. We have a curriculum that our GATE teachers have gone through. All of that is interwoven so that while the students are doing project-based learning, they're working in groups and teams, and they're reflecting, they're doing small lessons that allow them to think about, how do I work as a team? What are my strengths? What are your strengths? All of these different things. How do I help myself calm down? How do I understand others? How do I show empathy? It's all interwoven into the class in a natural way as they continue to work through the learning on the project-based learning that they're doing. So our goals are to build in strengths-based leadership, to do team building, and to establish that growth mindset. And a growth mindset is one where we understand that learning is not fixed and ability is not fixed. It's about effort and putting in that time and that effort to try, and that is more important than, you know, if I don't know it right now, I must be stupid, which is what a fixed mindset really thinks. And that happens a lot with gifted students because so many things come so easily for gifted students that they will sometimes, as soon as they face challenge, think, oh my God, I'm stupid and I can't do this, and get really easily frustrated around that. So we want to help them learn to develop that growth mindset. Focus on the learning process and show how hard work, good strategies, and good use of resources lead to better learning. So last is the leadership and communication, which again is all built into these projects that they're doing. We want to make sure that they are going to be our leaders of tomorrow. So they're looking at themselves, and we're using Clifton Strengths Explorer to help them learn about their own personal strengths and how their strengths are different from other people's strengths, and how they can recognize other people's strengths, who can then take all of that and bring it together so that they can build teams that are diverse, have opposite and complementary strengths, so that they can be the most effective out there and develop their leadership skills through these problem-solving activities. And it culminates with doing TED Ed student talks. So I don't know if you enjoyed TED Talks as much as I do. I really enjoy listening to TED Talks and things. And hearing the different ideas are there. But I mean, when you're watching a TED Talk, you see this great presentation and this pride, you know, of a person. And so we're working to help develop their speaking skills and their presence while they're speaking. And so they develop their ideas and their thoughts, and they work on how to present their ideas and thoughts over time. And they do actual TED Talks. Last year, they were delivered in video form to groups of students. And so this year, we're really looking forward to being able to have students develop and showcase their actual TED Talk on a stage. So if you want to learn a lot more about everything that we're doing and all the amazing details and work and see examples, Kristen will be our presenter at our Education Committee meeting November 2nd, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's a public meeting. It's open. We'd encourage parents to come and join us at the Professional Development Center and learn a lot more. Any questions?
Questions or comments?
I did have a point of, I have a comment and a point of clarification. I just wanted to make sure, because as you were, discussing the difference between GATE and what GATE students do, I kept hearing not just memorization of facts, and I'm hoping that that's not what we relegate to everybody that's not GATE, which is just memorization of facts, that just kind of brought up my alarm bells. I hope I didn't hear that correctly.
We're not relegating that to anybody.
Okay.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
But typically what happens is they think that if they just continue to learn more and more and more and more facts, that is being gifted. I've now learned more. I've amassed more knowledge and facts. And so we have moved away that's not good for our average learners. It's also not good for our gifted learners. The accumulation of more facts of knowledge is not being smarter and more effective.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I mean, I assumed, but I just wanted to make sure, people listening that they might. My comment is just that I really appreciate the way we've structured our GATE program, because at the beginning when you gave the definition of GATE, it talked about these really bright students who need services, and I think that need is very critical, because we are in a district with families that have high expectations of their students. They push their students. They want them to take honors classes. We have a lot of high grade point averages at the high school, a lot of high honors graduates. So I think it's important for the community to understand that you can be extremely intelligent and high achieving and successful, and you're just not a GATE person. Mm-hmm. And that the GATE people are the ones that actually have those needs. They need it, or else they will not thrive in their educational setting. And so I appreciate that we focus that on that. And I also appreciate that we're screening all fourth graders. I would really be interested in what the demographics of our GATE program look like right now, just making sure that we're reaching those underserved populations that also have GATE students that maybe aren't as easily identified. And so I like that your focus is on equity as well. So thank you very much. That was a great presentation.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Sherpin. I really enjoyed the presentation, and thank you, Kristen, for leading the effort. What I really enjoy about our GATE program is that, of course, it's great, but the incorporation of the GATE students along with their peers in a regular setting, and that actually helps them to learn on an equal pace, but still get into the depths of what they need to keep them engaged. Apart from that, I really love the fact that we are providing the social and emotional learning, which I feel is quite important for the GATE students. And this is me talking as a parent of a GATE kid, and I know how important that particular learning is. It's going to help their future. With that being said, I do completely second what my peer trustee Olson mentioned. Top 2% are GATE, yes, but the other 98%, please do remember that being a GATE student does not define everything. Your success is about your learning, just being you, and growing in the path of knowledge. And again, I'm just going to talk as a mom here, because I have a GATE student. I mean, my son was a GATE student. My daughter was not a GATE student. I can confidently say, by God's grace, both of them are successful. So all of you are great. GATE students, do well. If you're not GATE, you will still do well. Thank you.
Trustee Daniel, I just had to comment on what you pointed out about the having them mixed in the classrooms. I think that was an excellent observation. And when you mentioned the social and emotional skills and well-being and how they sometimes struggle. I think having them blended in the classroom like that probably is one of the best tools you have to help them improve those skills. And so that was a great observation. And I will say, I have 5 children, and I can't remember if my daughter took the GATE test or not. So I know for sure that only one for sure that took the test was identified as GATE, but I consider them all bright and they're all successful. And so I just think that's very important for people to realize GATE's kind of like what's in your DNA. You're born GATE or you're not. It's who you are. And the high achieving part, anybody can do that. And so, I know there's some districts where GATE becomes this elite thing and people like lobby to get their kids in GATE, and that doesn't meet the intention or purpose of what GATE is for. And so I appreciate that our focus is on that.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Computer's not cooperating, so I'm going to use the old-fashioned paper. Moving on to item 11, calendar. Thursday, October 21st, which is tomorrow, District English Language Advisory Committee meeting at 6:30, and that will be a virtual meeting. Tuesday, November 2nd, the Education Committee will meet at 6:30 in the Professional Development Center. Thursday, November 4th, the Facilities Committee will meet at 6:30 here in the boardroom. And Wednesday, November 10th is the next regular board meeting at 7 o'clock here in the district boardroom. In a moment, we will be adjourning to closed session where we will discuss Public Employee Discipline Dismissal Release Complaint, Government Code 54957, conference with labor negotiators, Government Code sections 49957.6, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code 54956.8, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code section 54956.9, and student discipline and other confidential matters, Education Code sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B. Pupil Personnel Education Code 48918. And I will
Move to adjourn to closed session.
Second.
on a motion by Trustee Clements and seconded by Trustee Boulay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned to closed session. Thank you all for your attendance this evening, and
Because at the booster meeting, the lady was saying that she had to be in there.
resuming open session at 10:38-ish. In closed session, the board took action on student discipline and other confidential matters, Education Code 35146, 48900, and 48912B, Student Personnel Education Code 48918, student expulsion, student 2122-01. The board took action on a motion by Trustee Clements and seconded by Trustee Boulay to approve staff recommendation for expulsion of student 212201 for violation of Board Policy 5131, Board Policy 5131.5, and Education Code 48900F, 48900G, 48900K1 for the remainder of the fall 2020 semester by a vote of 5-0. Student expulsion Board took action on a motion by trustee Olson and seconded by trustee Boulay to approve staff recommendation for student 212202 to return to school following his suspension for violation of Board Policy 5131, Board Policy 5131.5, and Education Code 48900F, 48900K and L for the remainder of the fall 2020-22 semester by the following vote: 5 ayes. Student expulsion 212203. Board took action on a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Daniel to approve staff recommendation for student 212203 to return to school following his suspension for violation of Board Policy 5131, Board Policy 5131.5, and Education Code 48900F, 48900G, and 48900K and L for the remainder of the fall 2021-22 semester by a vote of 5 ayes and no nays. Do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn. Second.
On a motion by trustee Olson and seconded by trustee Clements, we are now adjourned.
Don't we have to vote on it?
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we are adjourned. Thank you all.